This episode of the Amp Hour is sponsored by Club Jameco, part of Jameco Electronics. Have you ever wanted to sell a kit you dreamed up? Do you have an idea for a new project you're working on, and you think others would like working on it as well? Club Jameco allows you to upload your kit ideas and start selling to your peers. You can earn up to 10% on every approved kit that you sell. Additionally, if you submit an approved product brief, you will get a coupon code for 10% off your next order at jameco.com. To learn more and to see the chosen kit of the week, go to clubjameco.com/theamphour. This is the Amp Hour podcast, recorded June 3rd, 2013. Episode 148, Lifelong Learning Likelihood.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
You don't do anything on that website anymore?
No, I don't. But I do stuff while I have plans for a new website that I've posted about. That's
Do tell. You've posted about it?
I have. It's a YouTube video to start with and a website, and it's just to sign up right now. But the plan is to start in July. I'm excited and a little nervous, but you know, I'm excited. Mostly excited.
That patented nervous Gamble delivery on video, is that the?
No, I did a second video. I look way calm. I'm like a Hindu cow, man.
Right, because I saw his first video, folks, and it was that trademark Gamble nervousness.
Yeah, I'm getting a little better. It's a little better.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is a new thing that I'm starting. It's going to be a 10-week course. It's going to be basically soup to nuts, start at block diagram, and then go all the way through design, layout, component research, everything like that, all the way through, and actually shipping boards to people and having everyone build at once, and then troubleshooting all together. So, yeah,
novel.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I don't know if there's anything out there like it. It's gonna be interesting. But I'm gonna do a whole KiCad. I've already started a whole KiCad tutorial too, a video tutorial. So that'll be all included with it too. And yeah, it'll be project based. So it'll be like starting with a. I'm probably gonna do like an Arduino shield just to make it accessible, and then do like some kind of analog component with some kind of signal input. Probably signal input, signal output, and then show the whole design and all the design decisions and give context and have everybody work together, do meetups, yada yada yada, and hopefully it'll work.
So it's kind of like a community. It's almost like a community hackerspace project, but doing it virtual.
Yes, that's right.
People still build it up, but they got to build it up themselves, right?
Yeah, to build it up in your own lab. But the best part about it is you'll be able to build it at the same time as everyone else, because that's like the problem with like those I really like those massive online open courseware things, but even the problem with that is like you're not necessarily working on the same stuff at the same time as other people, right? I mean, that's a strength and a weakness. So this will be everybody working on it at the same time, going through the same issues, and then also designing stuff alongside as well. So just kind of experiencing it all together, and the stuff that gets sent out, it will be all open source hardware too. So,
but the key question here is: have you thought about this? Just dawned on me.
Okay.
You don't learn much when your project works first go. I've always said it. I hope your project fails. Are you going to deliberately put something in there that doesn't make it work and then have everyone send you flame emails? It doesn't work. You bastard.
That is a good question. And I don't know about deliberate failures.
You'll find out why in the next episode,
Yeah.
And you'll... Because you'll learn a lot when something doesn't work and you have to troubleshoot it.
Yes. That is a good question. No, that was not the plan, but I may have to revise it now. So I've only just started the videos, but... as we move towards launch, maybe I'll have to work in some. I don't know. I don't like. I agree that like you should have to troubleshoot that stuff, but and like that's a good way to learn. But
There is no but there.
It's
There is
no,
no
it's
but there.
shysty
Don't
if you
but
put it
me.
in automatic. If you put it in deliberately, that's the only thing I don't like. You know?
Yeah, but you know, how else are people going to learn? You can't just rely on the fact that they might get a solder bridge somewhere.
Yeah. Well.
You know.
Well, that's a good thing to think about, though.
And what's the name of this venture?
Oh yeah, it's called Contextual Electronics at contextualelectronics.com. So if people are interested, I've just got an email sign up right now. So if you are interested, you know, if you're looking to learn how to, you know, if you're kind of stuck and you're not stuck, but if you're just kind of you've always wanted to build hardware, but you didn't know where to start, and you've done some other stuff like you've programmed Arduinos or Raspberry Pis or something like that. This is going to be kind of like a good course for that person. Or even if you have built some hardware and you want to build alongside other people rather.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
It's exciting. It's I hope it
Good
doesn't
luck with that.
flop. Because that would be an awkward Chris on a video, right? So,
Right. Oh, sorry guys, I'm not doing any more videos because it was a flop.
I'm gonna go hide in a corner and.
My dreams of becoming rich and famous are just gone down the toilet.
Yeah. I don't really think that's ever
boy.
going to happen. So.
No. Yeah.
So
we should mention that it's not free.
right, it is going to be.
It will be a paid course.
Yeah, it'll be a paid course. There will be some. I mean, I'll release some of the videos for free as well, but not the whole course.
Right. Right, as a taster.
Yeah, and also
see
just,
what
you know,
you're
some of the
getting.
resource videos too, you know, like as I'm
Okay,
going through
cool.
design decisions, you know, if it's like a op-amp selection kind of thing, right? That's always
Nice.
a good thing to do, right?
They're very popular, yeah. I've done a few of those, and they were always very popular.
Yep.
I agree. But I'm telling you, you got to make them fail.
All right, well. Now, throw your...
Listen to the wise old man.
Throw
As
the
I
board
stroke
in
my
your
grey
oven
beard.
for about 2 hours now, and then we're going to troubleshoot and see what happened.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well, you could ship them kits with incorrect parts.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Or label them differently. Say it's say that this cap is actually like a 10 mic cap when it's actually like a 10 nanofarad or something.
That's nasty, man. That's just...
No, it's not. It's great. They're going to learn.
Yeah.
They're going to learn not to trust you. Not to trust any bastard. Don't trust any bastard.
That is a good lesson. You're
One
right
of
about
Dave's tips for life, yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's the way to learn.
All right. Well,
Fail.
keep that in mind. Maybe it'll happen naturally.
Right.
So, what's new with you? What's new? What's shaking, man?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm busy,
Busy? You
as I always am.
You were
Always behind the eight
waffling
ball.
on about your beautiful new microphone, the new Samson.
I got one of these little Samson Go mics. I haven't actually powered it up yet, so I don't know what the quality's like, but considering that I'm now doing this radio show on a Samson mic, and all my voiceover work for the video blog is also on a Samson mic, I expect it to be pretty good. And for like $40 or something, it was a bit more here in Australia, but it's a really nice quality, solid little desktop mic. You know, it's designed to like to carry in your bag, and you can clip it onto your notebook, and so it's like a portable podcasting mic kind of thing.
Well, for $40,
yeah,
that's basically a Skype mic at that price. I mean, like...
Yeah, exactly. It's a high-quality Skype mic, and it's got selectable cardioid mode.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Great.
Yeah.
So, neat.
Yeah.
I highly, and it feels weighty. I love a product that actually, you pick it up and there's some weight in it.
Right, it's
you
not
just
that
go,
flimsy
that's
plastic.
quality.
You're like, what the hell?
Exactly. I've just bought some eBay cheapy piece of shit. You
Yeah.
know, no, it feels great quality. So, the idea is to put that mic onto a laptop that I would permanently had set up to a USB microscope, so I can then, because the problem with it's always a logistical problem, right? I've got a nice Samson desktop mic here, but if I want to, but it's in the office cubicle part of my lab.
You want to look
so
and
if I
talk
wanna,
at the same time, right? That's difficult.
And it's just, and then I've got to disconnect all the cabling and take it over to the... No, it's just a pain in the ass. I've got like 4 notebooks here that I've salvaged from the junk room. You know, I'm just going to put one of those, set one up permanently as just a USB microscope thing with a quality mic built in, and then I can just turn it on, press go, and, you know.
See, that's always the thing with like test equipment too, right? You always want to have like multiple, like the best case scenario would be to have like, you know, 4 copies of everything. So then for each experiment you're doing, you don't have to break something down, because as soon as you break down a experimental setup, you're never going to, you know, you can't, well, obviously you can't keep recording the, you know, data if you're doing logging or something like that. And then, you know, you could end, you just have a lot of potential for error when you try and set it back up. So it's difficult for that kind of stuff. So it's nice if you can get it.
I'm one of those engineers who likes to build stuff anywhere, right? Like I've got multiple, you know, I've got like a 6 meter long bench in my lab here, right? So it's pretty generous size bench. But, you know, this is why I hate bench multimeters, right? Because they're just fixed in the, like, you can't just move them from one bench to another, or I can't take it home and work on, or I can't bring it into the office here and work next to my notebook when I'm developing a PC-based, USB product or something. You know, it's like, I hate taking the thing I'm working on to the bench, and then it's usually benches filled with crap, right? So I think I move it all. There's 3 other projects I'm working on.
You're like probing over top of like 3 other projects.
Yeah, 3 other projects that I'm working on at the same time, and it's just, I want to, so I need, 6 different multimeters, because I'm always working on projects in different locations and stuff, and it's just, I need an oscilloscope that's not fixed to my bench. I don't want to have to disconnect the power cord and move it over to another bench, and then, it's just...
It'd be nice to have like a hoverboard with like test equipment on it, huh?
Ooh. A hoverboard would be great for the camera, if you get a camera mount with the hoverboard, or a light mount,
What about test equipment mounted to the bottom of a quadcopter? It's a little noisy, probably. And the vibration
I was going to say that'd be noisy and breezy, son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's true. You get the temperature differentials.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's the downside with the bench level test equipment. It's like it's got that thing that you like, right? The heft, have a good heat sink on it or something for good thermal stability. But it's harder to move then.
Speaking of workbenches and labs and stuff, have you seen the new Iron Man?
I did, yeah.
Yes. Did you see the... it's not really a spoiler. It's just something that happens at the end of the movie about the kids' lab. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He tricks it out at the end, yeah.
Yeah, it tricks it out at the end. It's not a spoiler, folks.
No, I don't think so either.
A nice little, part of the ending. And so this little, young Tony Stark, he's
exactly.
He sets up this kid's lab and he's got everything,
Right.
Awesome.
That would be the ultimate, right? To like walk into your lab one day and just like Santa Claus is just dropped off.
Yeah, Santa Claus.
the ultimate lab, right? Instead of doing it piecemeal and
Yeah, buying secondhand eBay gear, scrounging it from wherever you can get,
Right, yeah.
30-year-old crusty HP gear or something.
Exactly. Deal hunting is fun, but at a certain point you're like, no, I want to be able to just just do everything I want to do immediately, right?
Yes, so I want to, exactly. I want everything at my fingertips and everything to be top-notch and brand new and, yep.
Yeah, so you actually asked about this too, about how much it takes. What does it take to equip a killer lab these days? I don't know. Man. Thousands? You're talking money, or you're talking about...
Yeah. I'm talking money. Because, see, I'm probably going to do a teardown today of this Keithley 2015 meter that I got. And it's 6.5 digits. It was like $400 on eBay. I know you're not a big fan of it, but even you're an ex-Keithley man.
I'm a fan of the DMM, just the THD total harmonic distortion stuff.
Like if people don't know, it's a 6.5 digit multimeter with a THD measurement capability built in, which means it has a function gen, like an audio bandwidth function gen built in, fairly low THD, and you can hook it up your PC and get THD plots of products and stuff like that. So it's a bit wanky.
Yeah, it's just specific for what they were selling to. So.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, it's a pretty good bit of kit for $400.
$400 is a good price. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And, because the
tough
nearest... Well, that's right. The nearest 6.5-digit meter on the market, brand new, is double that, right? One of those Rigol ones. Mm-hmm. Or something, I think. That's probably the nearest
that sounds
one.
about
Double
right.
that, so...
I think that's right. Because I think Rigol just came out with that one, too, the 6.5. It's not very old. They started with the 5.5, but...
Yep. But yeah, so that's about $800. So, it's half that price. So... and it's not like a 30-year-old HP model. I know that model's about 20 years old, but I think the one I've got's about 10 years old. I don't think it's hideously old. I've got to check that again. But, but you can but there's lots of great deals out there. I mean, you can set up a pretty kick-ass lab for let's say $10,000, right?
Which is a lot of money. I mean, that is a lot of money.
Well, it is a lot.
It's an investment in your future.
If you do it over a couple of years, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think about, like hobby just other hobbies, right? Like someone that plays golf, right? They might drop, $800 a season? I don't know. My dad golfs, but I don't golf. You think about...
I don't golf, no.
Yeah, like fees and stuff like that and equipment. Eventually that stuff all adds
clubs
up.
And,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Beers at the
But, you get these gaming kiddies thinking of, they spend $1,000 on a graphics card and, they buy an $800 keyboard. And,
that's true.
Yeah.
I
mean,
Yeah, hobbies are expensive. I was talking to someone about that on Twitter. It's not that you have to. It's just if you want, if you have specific needs, like a 6.5, right? Like, I've used a lot of 6.5 digit meters, and it's like most of the time you're using it in a 3.5 or 4.5 digit context. You don't need the extra digits of resolution, right. But when you do need it, you're just
bang,
banging your head against the desk. So. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know how much it would cost though to outfit it. I was talking to a friend today actually about this cheapy power supply I have. This from Electronics Express. It's a triple output, 30 amp or 2 amp 30 volt. Ones. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's like $130. It's like that's awesome.
I know. Yeah.
And pretty clean supply too. I mean, it's not like it's like real noisy either. It's linear.
It isn't a switch mode. It's a linear.
Right.
Yeah. Like I did a review of that. I got like a $400 one, but it was a precision one, right? It was triple output and it had precision. 0.01, 0.05%. Really. Yeah. The specs are all there, but it was a piece of shit, of course, because the user interface was just garbage. And,
right.
Everything else, but technically. The capability you got for that money is, really remarkable. And as you said, those power supplies, even a triple output one, like $150 or less.
Right.
Crazy.
Yep.
And when I was a boy.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, you build your own, at a certain point, you balance that out with building your own. It's like, like I saw, what did I see? Oh, I saw an article about Heathkit, actually. And
Heathkit.
I know, yeah.
Wow.
There's a rumor they're bringing. There's like a survey on their website right now, and there's a rumor that's saying that someone might have bought the brand and is bringing it back or something. Which I'll believe it when I see it.
Didn't they do that 5 years ago or something?
Yes,
right. I thought they did. And they
once.
failed, didn't they?
Yep.
Right. Right. So someone's going to do it again.
Well, that's what they're saying.
Nostalgia nut thinks that there's,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And right. I was reading some articles about it, and they were talking about it though, and like basically with Heathkit though, it was you were buying stuff and building it not just because of the interest and how it works, but also because it was just cheaper. It was at the time it was cheaper to do that, and these days I mean $135 for this thing, it's like it between shipping and the amount of aluminum and the heat sink, it's like okay, well, and the transformer, it's getting down there. It's like, well, what's really in there now,
It's like I used to sell PC-based scopes, right? I used to design and sell PC-based oscilloscopes, thousands of them. Yeah. And this was back in the day when, you couldn't buy a PC-based oscilloscope for under 3 or 4 grand or something.
Yeah, right.
It was crazy. So to buy and build your own one, it was very limited, but to buy and build your own one for a couple $100 was, an absolute bargain. But now, geez, you can buy a 100 megahertz bandwidth one on eBay for $200.
Right, exactly.
Or you can buy a 100 megahertz, bench scope for $300. Crazy.
Yeah.
Different world.
Yeah. Well, it's just that's the it's the ups and downs of abundance, right? I mean,
right.
On the upside, we get to benefit from that, but you know, if you have any sort of nostalgia for the, you know, the good old days of everybody building their own stuff, it's like, you know, it's like, you know, there's a lot of frustration there too, right? I mean, like, in terms of like inclusiveness, right? Like, I think, someone was mentioning on Twitter today about they long for the days of 6502, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, like, that's a simple processor core, right? And it's easy.
But there's still a ton of simple processor cores around.
Well, yeah,
Take your pick.
But I mean, I think they were longing for the time when everybody was building with those, though, too, right? There's that being the only option, and it's like, well, yes, that might have been the only option, but there was a far smaller community in general, too, right? I mean, like we've talked about before with the inclusive, you know, it's better to have an inclusive hobby that, you know, brings more people in, and then you can segment within that hobby than to you know, keep people out with a high entrance cost.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone talks about the glory days, but you remember how much it costs to get a 6502 development kit back in the day?
No, I wasn't alive.
This is right. This is back like in the early microcontroller days.
Yeah.
Right? Microcontrollers, which now you take for granted, you can do it for practically free, right? You can hook, if you want to, you can hook it up to your parallel port and your programmer, and you know, and it costs you nothing, right? You don't need to spend
parallel
a cent.
Port, no, it's
for
USB, man.
Well, you know.
USB to serial, JTAG, right?
You know, you can buy it. Well, you can get like the TI MSP kit for $5 or whatever, and they give you a USB development programmer. I mean, for $5.
Yep,
it's insane.
Yep,
right.
Yep.
Whereas back then, nobody could afford, if you weren't a business, like a fairly reasonably sized business, you couldn't afford a microcontroller development kit,
right?
Let alone the hobbyist,
right? Nothing with. No emulation either, right? You'd have to pay for that separately.
So don't crap on about giving me the good old days. The good old days weren't that good.
Right. Yeah, I think
reminds me of the Billy Joel song, right?
Was that, which song was that?
Oh, the Billy Joel, you know.
Yeah, I used to love Billy Joel. I haven't listened to him in a while. Talking about like Only the Good Die Young? That wasn't in that song.
Only the Good Die Young, I think, yeah.
Okay.
No, is it? Oh,
no, I don't think it was.
Anyway, no.
Next week on the Amp Hour, we'll have Billy Joel on to explain. No.
Live.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could get him on. This is a
what's he doing
radio
these days,
show.
Right?
We got a lot of pull. Right, yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah. So we were going over this before the show today. We're nearing 500,000 total listens for the show, which, you know, as I told Dave, it's like compared to YouTube, it's like, well, it's not quite as many as Dave has on YouTube, or a lot of people have on YouTube. But, you know, we're a pretty long show, too. And so we did some quick math at 500,000, or I think it was 480,000 listens. If everybody actually listened to it, that would be 3.6 million minutes, amp hour minutes, I guess. 3.6 million amp hour minutes, 600,000 amp hour hours, 25,000 amp hour days, or 68.7 amp hour years.
And we'll get people complaining that, well, we're just screwing up all the units there. And
oh, yeah.
Right. Blow it at your ass.
Yep.
Send complaints right into wedon'tgiveatoss.com.
Yeah. Take a number. Starts at 36.1 million.
Oh, dear. No, but you'll get those anal people. You didn't do the correct units. I've had people, like, I did something on the whiteboard and I didn't do the way I did the equation was incorrect, and they explained why it was incorrect and how it, you can't just put the things on the wrong sides of the equal sign. It's like, go away.
Yeah. No, I was talking to someone about
retentive,
that. The perfection for perfection's sake, like kind of like what I view as like the, you know, kind of ivory tower mindset of like, well, it's not right unless it's perfect like this. It's like, no, it's
perfect,
right.
Academic perfect. We're talking about.
Yeah. And it's like, no, right. if you get the job done, you know, like even if there's some mess in the middle, then, you know, like I feel like that's the engineering way of things. You know, it's like maybe it's not the perfect, you know, from a theoretical standpoint, but sometimes you know, sometimes you're going to just get out a decade box and try different values, or you're gonna solder in a capacitor to, you know, try and compensate for an op amp. You know, it's like engineering's messy.
Get that, like, Yeah, I get that all the time. You know, things like, my pronunciation of things, or the way I do my units, or something. Oh, my units are wrong. I don't know how to do units properly, and bloody hell. Yeah. It's like, I copped this just the other, my last video with the input op-amp, input offset voltage, right? People said, that's not strictly the correct definition of offset voltage. The offset voltage is the, what voltage you need to put on the output to make your input to make your output 0. And it's like, in freaking academia, in the real world, you care about the, when you short the inputs to your op amp, you get 2 millivolts on the output. That's your bloody offset voltage. It's like, it's, being pedantic and academically correct for the sake of it,
Yeah, it's tough too when
Crazy.
When you get that at like a workplace. I mean, obviously your workplace is full of it's got one big asshole there,
Right? Yeah, exactly. It's got one big anal retentive asshole.
Yeah, right. But you've experienced that at workplaces before, right? And I'm sure a lot of people have. You have that one guy. He's sitting in the back of the conference room. He's just kind of lobbing out stuff. It's like, dude, what have you done lately? Yeah.
I can remember we had the manager came in once, came into the lab, so we had to put down all our fart novelty toys and actually pretend we're doing some work, right? And and we had our boss detection system so we could sense it was incoming.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah. And coming down the corridor, you can hear the management footsteps.
Yeah.
Right. And came in and said, look, we have to talk, fellas, and sorry, it was a lab of all guys, so there were no girls. So fellas is actually correct. So don't write in and complain. Sorry, girls. It's just the way it was.
Right to Altium.
Right. No, this is previous company.
That's fine. Just write to Altium anyways.
This is big. This is big aerospace company. This is big $40-50 billion aerospace, not aerospace, military company. I know who I've worked for. Anyway, came in, right, and said, look, fellas, we have to talk. We've been getting too many, reading everyone's reports and documentation and things, and I don't like this funny business where you don't put units. You use words like, the offset voltage was small. I don't want you to use the word small. I want you to put a quantitative figure in there. Always put a quantitative figure. Do not use a descriptive word. All right. It's like, fair enough. I know where he's coming from, right? When you use descriptive words instead of putting actual figures, it's not very engineering-like, but, it was like, so that was the new rule,
Yeah, but there's context there too, right? So, it's like if it
of course,
if it matters or not, right? If you were actually measuring it.
Exactly, that's right.
Yeah, so if he's just coming at it from the idea of, it has to be more science-y, it's like...
Exactly, that was the idea. Yeah.
Right.
It's got to be more professional engineering-like.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting in those situations, too, of, looking at that kind of stuff from, taking that at face value, it's like, screw that guy, right? But
right.
I've had a lot of experiences, too, where, that kind of thing will happen. And then, once the anger subsides in me, right, or whatever emotion is,
right.
is initial, if you step back, sometimes you actually can look past that person, right? It's like, what's really happening here? And it might be that his boss is actually, scanning reports and he got yelled at, or, he's trying to move up in the company or something, right? There's always like these, and especially in big companies, there's always like these undercurrents of like politics and all this other crap. And it's just like, I just want to go to my lab and measure stuff and build stuff,
I know.
It's tough, but sometimes it's interesting to take that step back and be like, there's other stuff here, And then mess with them too, if you can, not get fired.
So tell us your stories of listeners. That is, tell us your stories of stuff like that, where you've come in and you've been spoken to because you're doing it wrong.
Yes, that'll be good. The comment section is always there for you guys to let us know about that stuff.
Yep. Will the best comment win a T-shirt?
Oh.
Best story? Shit, I've put it out there, haven't I?
You have.
I've just.
Yeah.
I've just. Right. Damn it. That costs us money.
No, that's okay.
We're
doing
trying to
fine.
save money. We're trying to get rich with this amp hour radio
No, we're
show.
not. We're trying to...
Can't get rich giving shit away.
Yeah, we are giving shit away. Actually, we should mention too. We're getting more transcripts of old shows. Especially, we're trying to find ones with.
Yes, we are.
Get the ones done with the guests first. So if anyone out there has heard of people, stopping listening because it's just too much time or whatever, they read faster, or if anyone out there is listening wants to go off and read stuff, we have a category now just called category/transcripts, and there's a button on the website. But if you are interested in going back through and making it more searchable too, because every time we do a survey for the show, everyone's like, your titles are ridiculous and I can't find shows.
Yeah,
so
yep.
hopefully that'll help. So
that's the idea, because it does cost a fair bit of money to get each show transcribed, because some poor bastard has to sit there for an hour and listen to us idiots yap on, and then actually go, right, who's talking, and they have to... I'm amazed that they can...
I am too.
They have the patience to sit there
actually,
and do it.
we've got two nice ladies doing it for us, and the one actually said she likes it because you compare it to, like, usually it's like doctors, like talking into their tape recorder and then they transcribe that stuff. Right. So apparently we're a bit less formal than doctors. Go figure.
You think?
Yeah.
So hi to our transcriptions.
Yes.
Sorry, what do they call themselves? What would be a term?
Yeah.
Transcriptionist? Transcriber?
Transcriptionist. Yeah.
Transcriptionist.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they get to put in shit words like shit and dickhead.
Nice.
I can do that because I'm Australian. So
right, of course.
That never happens in America.
FCC would not. Yeah, I'm actually... The FCC came and told me, it's okay if Dave says it, but if you say it, Chris, you... when nothing happens, it's a podcast.
Right.
Speaking of former shows, though...
in the US. Yeah.
Former shows, we had talked previously on here about the low-cost pick-and-place machine. I think... when Zach Hoken was on, he mentioned it.
That's
and then,
right.
Ian from Dangerous Prototypes has actually gotten one. He's been doing some videos with it. I got an email from them just like out of the blue, the people that make those.
Yeah, I've read that. Yeah.
And like
they sent it to the Ampere.
Oh, they did. Okay, yeah. So they
Yeah.
It is now like before you had to actually buy it over there. I actually wasn't able to find how you buy it, but apparently they are exporting them to the States now. So if people are interested, I'll put a link in.
Even to Australia, I think. I think they mentioned Australia as well.
Oh, cool.
Except they spelt Australia wrong, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, these things happen.
No, it wasn't Austria.
No. Yeah. Well, that's cool, though. I mean, like, and Ian's been doing some cool videos for that stuff, too. I mean, it seems pretty slow, but every time I kind of look at that, I think about, if you could do a pick and place, if you had enough boards to do maybe like a 20-run kind of small board thing, it starts to make sense eventually. If it won't mess up and you can walk away.
Maybe, but yeah, but then it can't do tubes, right? It can only do feeders. So if you've got tubes, it can't do. I don't even know if it can do trays.
I don't think so, no.
There goes half of my parts on my current board, my current design. It's like, well, if it can't do all of them, then what's the point? I might as well send it to a real shop, that has a machine that can do all types of packages.
Yeah, there's always going to be a balance point.
But these pick and place, I'd love to have one as a toy, but I just always can't help feeling that it's just in that narrow band of, very niche area where it makes it worthwhile. Yeah. I think there's a very narrow band in there, and you've got to weigh up whether or not your time to run this thing is worth it.
I think,
you've got a suitable project.
I think you have to balance the fact that you just want to learn it too. Like that, I think that has to be the number one thing to start with.
That's another aspect,
right? I mean,
if you want to use it as a real tool, right? You have to go. Well, you have to look into all the details matter, right? There can be showstoppers, like I said, no trays, no tube vibrators, right? So there's another word. Add vibrator to the transcription list.
Different context than sometimes.
We're talking about tubes,
Right.
There we go.
Of course.
But it'll help with the search terms.
Yes,
of
course. We'll get all the great search traffic at that point.
We should say vibrator a couple of times, and
I'm not getting this show transcribed now. It's just.
Oh, damn it! All right. so where was it? Yes, there can be one showstopper. Oh, it doesn't support tubes or trays. Right, I'm out because my next project has tubes and tray parts. So, well, what am I going to do? Solder them by hand? Screw that.
Yeah, and
I might as well send the whole lot over to a house that can do it.
Right, yeah. And I think that point is because if you wanted to go off and learn it too, you probably also would be willing to try and, integrate your own tube loader or, tray loader at that point. Because, you're learning it for, like Ian, he's learning it for the sake of learning it, but then you also get boards on the other end. It was kind of the same advice that was given to me when I was looking at milling machines. It was like, do you want a machine or do you want a project? And I think this is closer to a machine, but I think it's still a project right now.
It's still a project. Yeah, So, I don't know. I'd love to have one to play with too, but, well, would I produce my new microcurrent boards with it? Well, probably not. No. Right? And that's a simple board.
Yeah. Well,
right? And also the working area is quite small.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not. No. Somebody was talking about developing a pick-and-place machine. Was it another bloody Kickstarter thing or something? And it was
maybe.
like, $1,000 pick-and-place machine, and it was like, and the build area was only like Eurocard size. And I'm going, what's the point? If you have to do one board, the whole point of a pick-and-place machine is that you can do a panel at a time.
Yeah, big.
You can do 10 boards, right? Otherwise, you're just pushing shit up a hill with a pointy stick.
Yeah, I saw.
Really?
There was someone took a picture at Maker Faire. It looked like at first I thought it was an old MakerBot. It was like the wood chassis style, like the MakerBot. What's the one you have? The Thingomatic or whatever.
Yeah, but the Thingomatic and even the new ones would. Well, the newer one I've got two of them. They're both wood.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but it was that same kind of laser cut wood chassis and stuff. And I was looking at it and I'm like, it's not a 3D printer. It was actually like a little pick and place in there. And it's like the same kind of thing of like, well, at a certain point, I'll get, tweezers and, little syringe, like one of those.
Right.
I've used those little air operated solder paste syringes. Those are nice. Yeah. I mean, you can do a lot of work with those.
Those are okay. Yeah, you can have your tape. You can peel back the tape and peel back the. What's the thing called? The cover, the tape on the tape. Doesn't make sense.
You're talking about like off the reel? You're talking about like the clear...
Yes, I'm talking about the plastic
cellophane
film. So you peel the film off the tape, right? And you stick your tape down to your bench, and you can have multiple ones, and you label them, and then you can get your little vacuum pick-and-place machine, so you become a human pick-and-place machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically. And you can get pretty efficient at that.
Yeah.
Actually,
I've had some boards manufactured
and it's great
like
if you only
recently.
Want to do 5 boards. Yeah, if you want to do 5 boards or something,
Exactly. Or if you think you're going to mess something up, or if you want to selectively populate too, it's like at a certain point you have to program a pick and place, right? It's like, but if it's human programming, you just say, hey, don't put that one there, leave that part off for now. Oh, okay, I don't have to change the program, so. Humans win for now. Take that, robots.
Right. So, how much is this pick and place machine? It's like $3,000 or something.
Yeah, $3,000 or $4,000.
Like,
$4,000, I remember. I think.
Right. See, that's probably that's too expensive for me to get wife approval on that and just play around with it for some video action. If it was $1,000, I might actually buy one to play around with and do some videos on it.
Yeah.
But that's probably a bit much, I'm afraid.
Oh well.
Them's the breaks.
We should mention our sponsor who's back this week.
They are back.
Yeah. Club Jameco.
Back from the future.
Back from the future. Really? Back? No, back. Yeah, Club Jameco is back, and so people can go to clubjameco.com/theamphour. That's where they list all of the kits we've talked about this show and the past shows, and also you can submit your own kits. So if you submit a kit idea, you can get a coupon. Once it's approved as it's a legit idea, you can get a coupon for 10% off your next Jameco order. And then if they start manufacturing your kits, which they have a growing library of kits that are user submitted, then you get upwards of 10% of the kit sales, which is dependent on how many they sell. So,
of course.
Oh yeah. If they sell,
sorry, that was just bleeding obvious.
No, I'm sorry. I meant there's like tiers. Like if you get past a certain tier, it's like starts at 5%, goes to 8%, and then 10%. Yeah. So I picked out.
And you don't have to do anything, by the way, to get that.
Right. Yeah. Once it's
it's completely hands off. You don't do a thing.
Right. Once it's approved by the community, like they have voting and stuff. So
money for jam.
Yep. Pretty good stuff. So
yes, please support our sponsors because they help keep the show alive.
Yes, they do.
They're very generous, and we need to be generous to them.
Definitely. The kit we chose this week, actually I chose it. Dave wouldn't care about this, but it's actually a so it's a kit. It's a double whammy, right? Not whammy. It's a 2-for-1. It is a kit, right? So it's a pickaxe based kit, and then so you build it up, but then it's also once it's done, it is a Morse code trainer basically for all you CW aficionados out there. So people that are ham radio people, you can use it to learn Morse code. So,
sweet.
Yeah. Exciting.
Do you know Morse code?
Oh no, that's not part of the thing anymore.
No, they dropped it, and that was one of the reasons why you went for it. Yay, I can easily get my ham license now, so I can appear to be cool.
Appear to be cool, huh? Yes, nothing says cool like ham radio.
That's right.
That's right. Grads and dads, get your ham radio license today. It's the hottest gift of the season. Nothing says attractive to the opposite sex like I have a call sign. Walking around Hamvention is nothing more. It's basically like going to the Cannes Film Festival or a model show or something, you know. It's basically nothing but beautiful people as far as the eye can see.
Would that be the hallmark of a nerd if you had somebody come up and ask your number and you actually gave them your call sign?
Yeah. Hit me on the 20-meter, baby.
Oh dear, that's quite sad, really.
Yeah,
but I can see that happening.
So speaking of 20 meters, so I was at Hamvention a couple weeks ago.
You've got a segue for that?
Yeah, I do. So
that's impressive.
Yeah. So I posted a video about Hamvention. I don't know if people saw those videos. Did you end up seeing the Hamvention video? It was fun, you know, like walking around and stuff. I haven't
watched it yet.
I don't think we talked about it last week, but
no.
I also posted a video of the Air Force Museum. That was really cool.
Yeah, I saw a bit of that. You kept saying for an hour on the video, "This is so big."
Oh, I know.
Cool.
I kept saying it. It was amazing. Everything's so big there. Anyways, so
of course it is. It's a bloody.
I know they're planes, right?
And the planes are big. They have to hang them from the ceiling. Of course, the place is going to be big.
Here's the real thing.
I didn't expect scale model.
I didn't expect that much awesomeness in the middle of Ohio. How about that, Dave?
Right.
That's the real thing. It's not like
you usually just find cornfields, right, or something.
Yeah, mostly. Dayton is mostly slums. I mean, Dayton's a pretty rough area. It's not totally terrible. There's a lot of nice people there, but you know, it's an older town. But you know, it's just so awesome, so awesome. I highly recommend if anyone's in Ohio, get to Dayton. That is it's just like it made Ohio that much cooler to me, and.
Right. So you were surprised not to find graffiti on the side of the planes and the things jacked up with the wheels missing?
No, it's an Air Force base, but it's just the scale, okay. You know. It's just the scale.
There'd be a modicum of security there, yeah.
Yes, definitely. Many people there that could, although it's a private institution.
You're not coming in with those shoes, mate.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, where was I going with this? So, Greg Charvat, former guest of the Amp Hour, he had bought part of the video. He showed off this really cool radio he got. It was like this 1944 radio, but he then did a video recently where he actually hacked the whole thing. He basically pulled the VFO signal out and, you know, danced it all around and put it back into a transmitter and everything. And he goes over the whole thing, and it's this really cool video where he basically takes this formerly, you know, it's a 60-year-old radio that was only for receiving, and he basically took it and he uses it as a transceiver now to both send and receive. So if people are interested in
nice, yeah,
like radio stuff, and you know, he does a whole whiteboard thing, kind of like how you've been doing with those Friday videos. So he does like a whole explanation of it. Yep. So it's a good way to learn. So
awesome,
very cool. And I should say, I've been enjoying your videos, the Friday ones. If people haven't checked those out, they should.
Oh, the Fundamental Fridays. Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now the pressure's on to bloody produce the things.
Yeah.
I've had this stupid idea for, since I started the blog. Oh, yeah, I should probably do some sort of, regular, I was going to call it building block segments, but one, I didn't come up with a name. Some viewer, sorry, I forget your name, actually wrote in and suggested Fundamentals Friday, and I went, oh, that's actually a cool name. Okay, I've got a cool name for it now.
Yep.
Let's, and I just went and did it. Now bloody well committed myself. And
Yep.
I'm my own worst enemy.
Yep.
Really.
Well, it's
so
good.
Is your venture going to have whiteboard stuff?
Yeah, it'll have whiteboard eventually, but it'll be as we go along.
Right.
Like whatever we're working on at that point, it'll be not necessarily as your stuff is like random, but like really cool, right? I mean, like this will be more fundamental and not fundamental because it was just called Fundamental Friday, but like basically as we're working on op amps, it'll be like that's the theory for op amps right at the time. So that's the idea.
Right. Okay. Yep.
So a little bit more.
Yeah, mine are very random. I get people. I keep getting people asking, oh, can you do everything step by step from the beginning? Well, what am I, a bloody university? I mean, God.
Right. And there's a lot of good stuff out there. I mean, like there's I found
there's already a lot of good stuff.
There's like Alan Wolke's channel, right? That's great for RF stuff, and he does a lot of op amp stuff too.
Yeah, he's done. Yeah.
And then every college is putting stuff online now too, with all these open courseware things. I mean, it's great. I mean, you can find so much information, but it's just a matter. I think a lot of people like yours because of the, it's you and your jovial style, right? Versus, like if it's just someone like the Khan Academy, like Khan Academy's
off
cool.
a lot of people too.
Really? Oh, okay. Oh, you just mean you.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, one here too. Yeah, you piss me off
People love me or hate me. I had somebody say that. Why don't I make my fundamental videos just like Khan Academy? Khan Academy's so professional and everything.
Yeah.
Like, geez, well, there's no
what
personal
about a screen
face
professional,
behind
right?
the Khan Academy.
It's like, there's a style.
I'll hire a professional voiceover, and no, my videos are personal. You get to, know who's delivering. You get to,
exactly. There's a
know the person.
There's something about like the not saying your stuff's grungy, but like there's always a real aspect to like the grungy side of things, right? So like
it's grungy. Come on,
like a Jim Williams type of when you see like his his bodged together circuits, and then as he builds them up, or like the Bob Peace stuff, and seeing that kind of stuff. I mean, like that's just it's just real. It's just how engineers work. It's like if you want to dress it up, then go on like a Discovery Channel show or something. Like with segment producers and all that crap. It's like ugh.
Can you imagine, like, if, say, the Bob Pease, Pease's Porridge column, you didn't know who he was, you didn't know where he was from, you had never seen his photo, and all you had was this faceless, nameless person writing this stuff. Yeah, the writing would still be cool, but you wouldn't get the sense of the personality behind it. You wouldn't, you don't get that personal attachment to the person doing it.
Yeah,
it's just no.
You get more into it, exactly. Well, and that's just a human characteristic, right? I mean, like humans like being told stories, right?
Exactly.
It's just part of our history. It's part of how communication has been done, and it's the same thing with personas too. I mean, like Bob and Jim Williams and everyone, and you, it's just personas. People relate to personas as instead of just faceless entities, right? Like I couldn't pick out Sal Khan on the street. Like he's done good stuff for education, but
no, that's right.
I don't know who he is. And so that's the difference.
That's right.
Speaking of...
it's a personality thing. People like to like personalities.
I agree. Or hate. Like and hate, I think.
Or hate, of course. Like, I get regular hate mail. It's great.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
Hilarious.
Exactly.
And, so somebody emailed me, like, just yesterday and said... Yeah, why don't you do a basic op-amp fundamentals Friday, completely from the beginning? And I've searched Google. I can't find anything. There's nothing out there. It's like...
Keep searching.
Your Google search skills
suck.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Speaking of Bob Peace, So we had talked about that artsy PCB program that you didn't like previously, where it like does like artsy PCBs after you
What's
put in.
this?
It's called BoldPort.
Oh, artsy, right?
Yeah.
PCBs. Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
yeah.
He's taken so he took his software, and then he also ended up developing this little test coupon for a Bob P circuit, and it's like hand drawn. I just thought it was really fun with the. So it's got like a piece quote on it and everything, but it's got like a hand drawn schematic alongside.
Right.
It's just a really cool idea for
cool.
Having silkscreen.
Is it in Bob P's trademark convoluted schematic style?
Yeah, exactly. It's
right.
Scratchy, and I think the boards are coming in soon, so people can get those. I'm not sure what the circuit actually is. It looks like it's just a little amplifier circuit, LM311. So
right.
Yep, pretty fun. Oh,
LM311's not an amplifier.
331. Sorry,
it's a comparator.
Yeah, 331. It's a.
No.
Nope, sorry, voltage to frequency. Yeah.
741, how about that? You remember that one?
I remember that one, Dave, yeah. I never got so like a lot of people you always see this in the
And you're an analog guy?
Oh, shush. So the voltage to frequency stuff, I never had to do that though. Like people always did that for. I always see like the Jim Williams app notes for these kind of things too. They did it for like going over isolation barriers, right? You take a voltage, you translate it from a voltage to a frequency, and then you push it over like a transformer, right? You always see that kind of stuff, and it's like you don't need it these days. Like just optos are so much cheaper. You can get digital isolators. Like just there's tons of other options for that kind of thing. And if you look at it from an analog perspective, everything's hopped over the isolation barrier, right? So whereas before you had, one micro talking to, 15 different analog to digital converters on the other side of an isolation barrier, now you just throw a micro on the other side too, and it's just local, right? You do local processing. That's just the transition of cheap micros these days, right? I mean, it's just you see them everywhere. Everybody's pushing them into products too, and it's pissing me off.
They're a plague.
I was pissed. I keep talking to these vendors
you're
about
gonna be out of a job.
Okay, that's a different thing, because I do yell at vendors because they they keep pulling in. I've talked about that before. They keep pulling in analog functionality, right? And that's okay, right? It makes my job easier, and I can do a lot more. But no, now they're always throwing in micros, right, for like local processing stuff. And like they're charged, they want to. I get it. They want to charge more for parts, right? They want to have, 2 A to Ds and a micro that then talks over Ethernet or something for like, for like local processing. But if I'm trying to use it just as an analog to digital converter, then I have to go and program that micro. Whereas before I could just talk to it, with a single micro. And it's like, trying to shoehorn new electronics into old electronics. Into old applications is always a difficult thing.
Yeah. I can't picture you shouting at a sales guy. I can picture you sitting there with them, sipping a cup of tea, going, "Now, I really don't think that. Well, I think it may be better if you do it this way." You're not the
I'm that whiny in your head, huh?
type.
I'm just a.
Right, yeah. Right.
Okay, thanks, Dave. That's good to know how you think of me.
I can't picture you there thumping the table.
No, I don't thump the table. But
I hate this shit. These chips are. Why don't?
That doesn't get through to anyone. I'd rather be someone that they come back to and ask.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't. Believe me, it doesn't. I mean, yes. What they'll do is they'll write you off, right? They'll say, "Oh, this guy hates us," or "This guy, doesn't want this part, and we should just not go." If it's like a specialist. Again, for analog to digital converters.
They don't annoy me anymore,
That's true, yeah. But, if it is something that I'm interested in, I want them to come and ask me the next time because I want to tell them exactly what I want in the next generation of parts. I always take those meetings because, I want to affect that stuff. I want to make my job easier. That's eventually they all start, calling you and asking what you want in the next generation of parts. It's like, sure. At certain points, I'm like, yeah, do my job for me. That's fine. Pull in more functionality.
Right, yeah.
Because, then you usually get cost savings and power savings and everything else, too.
Right.
You got me all worked up, Dave, and then you insulted me. I'm marginally upset.
Sorry.
That's
You're
how
marginally insulted. Marginally upset.
That's how I respond normally to vendors. I'm like, oh, this is upsetting.
I just think you're a bit of a pussy. That's all.
I think of myself as a even-tempered, nice person. Well, maybe not nice, but even-tempered, amicable customer. How about that?
Right, with tact, because that's one thing I lack. Is
yes, you
tact.
do.
Yeah, I have none.
That's okay.
No, I tell it like it is, and I expect people to treat me the same way.
I would be interested to know if I mean I'm just guessing about that. You know, if vendors actually, I don't know. I don't think they would say they respond better because who wants to get yelled at, right? But you know, if you actually did a study somehow,
right?
Of
Well, no, don't yell, but
yeah,
you know.
like if you and I were trying to get the same point
if you
across,
tell them something sucks, right?
Oh, I'll tell someone something sucks.
But there's nothing wrong with telling them something sucks.
Right.
This part sucks ass, you know. Why? Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you why.
Oh, yeah, I'll say that too, you know? But usually I won't say sucks ass. I mean, I'll actually be a little nicer about it. But again, maybe that's a cultural difference. Maybe Aussies are just a little more brash.
Could be. Or it could be just me. Because Yeah, we are.
A little more brash. Yeah. Here in the Midwest, we're a little calmer from eating carbs.
I don't take things personally, and I don't expect others to. Right. Oh, goodness. Can we talk about something technical?
We have been. But yes, we can.
Yeah, kind of.
What do you want to talk about?
Let's go to the other extreme from the LM.
You mean the op amp or the amplifier that's 331?
Yeah, the op
Bob P's falling over his grave. I'm sorry, Bob. I didn't mean to. Anyways, I'm an ass.
Oh goodness, terrible. Anyway, I linked to a data application note. Here we go. I'll send it to you. I've
seen it. Yeah, this is the Altera one.
Right.
Yeah. So it's through eWeb,
yes,
but it's an Altera app note.
It's an Altera app note. And it tells you how to lay out your board and design to get a 100 gigabit serial interface working on their Stratix 5 GT FPGA, right? One of these, $1,000 FPGAs.
Yeah.
One of these huge high-end ones. And it's like, and it's like, you look at this sort of stuff and you go, holy shit, and it's telling you, oh, here's the example layer stack up for the board. It's only 20 layers,
So easy.
And it's like, oh, it's so easy. It's only a 20-layer board, and it's like, and yeah, if you follow these app notes, right, any schmuck who can afford to make a 20-layer board can probably get one of these 100
afford to test one of these boards, you mean? That is the cost.
And you can afford to test it and afford to get the right connectors and everything else, and
Right.
And you go, and you take this shit for granted. And you just think about the people who actually developed this, and made it, meet all the tolerance margins for the 100 gigabit standards and all that sort of stuff, and
yeah.
Man, it's just...
Well, it's actually... it's 4 parallel
let alone, as you said, test it.
Isn't it? I mean, these are... Is it actually 100? I thought it was 100.
Oh, is it? Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it says 4 by 28. I think 28's the
4 by 28 gigabit is the actual data throughput.
Yeah, but it's not like 28 gigabits is like, oh well, only 28. Oh, okay. Get out my crappy, eye diagrams and all.
I'll just get my Tech TDS 210 scope
exactly.
out. I can measure that.
Yeah, no problem. No. Yeah.
I've done like a 10 gigabit one before, and I've analysed the bit error rates to, on a 10 gigabit per second serial link to an FPGA.
Yeah.
And, that was sort of, black magic enough. And, it's just,
Well, we should refer people to the if they are interested in this black magic kind of stuff too. Go back and listen to the Howard Johnson interview when he was on the Amp Hour as well.
Yes,
that was
yes.
He's all about this kind of stupidly fast stuff. I mean,
He was on the standards committee for the Ethernet 10 gig Ethernet standard, and maybe the 100 gigabit one as well. Perhaps.
Well, and
anyway, he was on the standards committee developing this sort of stuff.
Yeah. Was that him? I thought that was someone else.
Yeah. No, I think he was.
It's been a while.
Was it someone else?
I was listening to a show from 2 weeks ago.
Right,
I was trying to find something from a show 2 weeks ago, and I was listening to us, and I'm like, I said that? I don't remember anything that we've talked about. Everything I've said so far in the show, I likely will forget about. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. That's the nature of the
Did I tell you about this new project I'm working on?
It just blurts out. No?
Yes, I did. I told you at the beginning of the show.
Oh, right. Did you? Oh, right. Oh, I thought you meant physical project.
Oh,
right.
No, I meant,
right.
That was just jokes. Yeah. He's got 10 plus years on me. He's getting a little older, folks, so yeah.
Yeah. 10, I think it's more than 10.
Yeah, probably.
Young whippersnapper.
This stuff, though, have you ever... So did you... When you had to do the layout for this kind of like this 10 gig stuff, or like this show's 28 gig stuff, did you have to do like the detection side, or were you just looking at the eye diagrams, making sure the signal integrity made it through, like the signal made it through? Like how were you testing it?
Well, it was two-pronged. There were the eye diagram stuff with the high-end scopes, but there was to do the bit error rate stuff. That's tools actually provided for the FPGA to that actually taps into.
Okay.
Like it's a plug-in you get in your VHDL or whatever, and you can tap into the transceiver.
Yeah.
The actual, the 10 gig bit transceiver on the FPGA die, and you can extract the raw data out of it. And they've got a PC application that then can, decode all that, and you just leave it there running for days and days and days, and you can get the bit error, the average and peak, and whether or not it meets the standard and all this sort of stuff. So there's, tools built in, but everything's tweakable. So you have to learn how to tweak the thing for your exact requirements. And you can ruin the whole thing and get result. You can make anything pass, right? By tweaking, right? You can go, hey, here's all my test results. The bit error rate, perfect.
And then the temperature changes by 1 degree.
And of course, you just, and here I was actually blowing on the chip, to see if it would change the bit error rate, or getting the freezer spray can out, or the air duster and turn it upside down, and freezing the chip and see what it does to the bit error rate.
You should explain that test too, so that in case people have never heard of that, the air tester thing.
What?
There's likely people that have never done that, right?
Oh, right. If you don't, you don't need a can of freezer spray in your. What are you talking about? Physically using the air duster instead of a freezer spray?
Well, I just meant in general too. So what Dave's talking about is that to temperature test, you don't just heat it up, but you also cool it down. So you can use like a hot air pencil to heat up a chip package, and then you can cool it back down with it. There is just a freezer spray, but then if you're out of that, like Dave's saying, you can you use like a canned air kind of thing.
Get your air duster and turn it upside down, and then all the Freon or whatever the stuff is comes out.
Whatever the hell it is.
It cools your chip down, and so it's that sort of technique's usually for fault finding. To thermally shock a component to see if if something happens. You know, so you can find dry joints and stuff that way as well. So
I've never done that.
It's a common done that for repair technique
for dry.
That's a very common repair technique.
Huh.
Yeah.
What is the behavior manifest
you
as?
thermally stress that joint, and it can. Oh, well, if you've got like a dry joint that's just touching, if you thermally stress it, metal expands when you stress it, and boom, the joint pops open.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's like a turkey popping open.
Yeah, so you can make your fault come and go.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you've got a thermally, it's common. If you've got a fault which fails, like after you've switched it on for an hour, then, there's some sort of thermal stress thing happening. So you might go around and selectively freeze stuff with your freezer spray to try and find the culprit, try and crack it, try and actually track down the culprit. And, I've done that for speaking about the anal retentives before. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've done it for what?
Oh, I was just gonna say I've only done the freezer spray stuff just for like the actual body of the package, not necessarily for the the pin
right.
pin separation stuff. So, so anal retentive though. Sorry.
Or you can find dry joints on, you can find bad joints underneath pain in the ass BGA chips and, stuff like
that's
that.
good too, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of anal retentives, way back in the episode, I do actually remember that. We were talking about people complaining about, that's not theoretically right, and then, I mentioned this on a video, using the freezer spray can as a troubleshooting technique, and a bunch of people came on, no, that's not right, you don't do that, being a blah, 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 and here's why, blah, 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 and it's like, dude, it's a standard technique that's been used for 50 freaking years, tell someone who cares.
It can give you false positives, but it's not a reason not to do it, right? That's the main point.
Oh yeah, of course.
Of
course. No, it's not a reason not to do it.
You can sit there spraying something all day, and it cools off, it cools down and heats back up and everything. It's like, you could affect some behavior, but if that's all you're doing anyways, you're not troubleshooting properly in the first place, right? It's like you have to go and do other stuff then, either reflow the chip or start actually testing traces.
And you've got to know what you're doing, and you've got to know what the results mean, and you've got to, but in experienced hands, there's nothing wrong with doing it.
Right, I agree.
So,
it's a good starting point. And getting you. So with this transceiver
maybe
thing,
that should be a segment in your project. That should be a segment in your project.
Cooler spray?
Like trouble, thermally stress thing. It's fun,
It is, No, that's all going to be in there, buddy.
See, I'm always coming up with good ideas for your new project.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of transceivers, sorry. What the hell were we talking about?
My only experience with these has been trying to get them. I've used I think a 6 gig one before, and because they actually don't auto lock onto how the serial signals come in and the serial deserializer or SERDES as they're referred to. I didn't realize when I was starting this project was like you basically key on a certain pattern coming in, and then basically you lock to that. But there's there's all these variables you can have for actually locking to the signal, and and I didn't have any kind of visibility to the actual signal, so I didn't know you can get false positives for if your signal's flopping around all over the place. You can get 101 sometimes, and you'll actually start capturing.
That's what I was talking about. You can. Yeah. That's why I said, you can tweak all these variables, in all these registers. These SERDESs have, some of them have, I can't remember exactly, but they might even have hundreds of registers that you can set up, to do and actually detect and lock onto various things and do all sorts of stuff. And
it's crazy.
Absolutely phenomenal.
It's and I,
hundreds of configuration bits, and
once you get it, you're just like, don't touch anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like that part of a project where if it's like
so you load up So you load up the bit error rate test program, that comes with the the Altera or the Xilinx chip, and it comes with all these default values for these hundreds of registers, and you go, right, I'll start with that. Thank you very much. Because if you had to read the data sheet and figure out what each bit in each register did, and then set them all up from scratch, you could spend a week doing that.
Easily.
Seriously, just trying to figure out and understand it all, and just a week. People don't understand. 8 hours a day for a week just trying to figure out what your registers should be.
Yep.
And learning all the little intricacies of that SERDES or whatever.
Well, it's like that with lots of stuff. I mean, it's
unbelievably
not just
complex.
a SERDES, right? I mean, it could be, just learning a new processor too. Like that's why people stick with processors they know.
Yeah, of course.
When they're doing new projects, they don't want to that you have a board support package that works, or you have a default project that works.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'll pay $10 for a chip just to not have to start at the beginning again, right?
Exactly. And that's how engineering works,
Yeah.
Often you're not going to spend that time to choose the most optimal device. You're just going to go with what you know.
Yeah. Path of least resistance. Just like current.
Yep. Which you were wearing on your T-shirt in the first video you did.
Yeah. The resistance is futile.
The resistance is futile T-shirt.
Yeah. If less than 1 ohm.
Yep.
Yeah, those are fun.
Right. I'm now keen to see your revised video. Your first video was 8 minutes. How long is this one?
It was 10 minutes. It was worse.
10?
Yeah, I'm making.
I advised you to keep it under 5.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna.
Don't you listen to the wise old man?
Yes, I'm listening to the guy that regularly does 30-minute videos after saying they're gonna be 10.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I'm the master. I am the master of waffle.
Yeah.
I am the waffle master.
Yes.
But I know the value of a good,
right.
succinct.
Do as I say, not as I do. Right.
Introductory video, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
So you get.
No, if I was doing that, I'd put serious work into getting that video to 3 minutes long.
Yeah, I plan to.
Or 5 tops.
Well, I have a whole day until this airs, right. So by the time people see it,
you've already.
Remember, it won't air till tomorrow. So
right.
we're speaking from the past right now for everyone listening.
Oh.
So there may be a 3-minute video by now.
Right. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Because this is not live. We actually have quite a few people continuously ask us, why don't you live stream the show?
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
The radio show. And it wouldn't be any difference. It's because it's not like this thing's really edited. We rarely edit this thing.
Yeah, only when there's...
It's pretty much just, trim the start and the end, and only if there's a reason to.
Yeah, if there's lots of noise or something like that, or big coughs.
Or something like that. But generally, no, we're not going to go in there and, heavily... This thing is not... Generally, we shoot for a single take, so we record the whole hour, and that's what we dump.
Yep.
Basically, so... Yeah, so there's no advantage to listening to it live. Sorry, it's just boring. Just like our regular show. And on that note, we're an hour and 10 minutes in.
Oh, that's nothing for us.
Yeah, but we don't want to make it a Jerry length.
No, definitely not Jerry length. That was our longest show yet. So it's
Is that kind of the equivalent to the smoot?
The smoot? Oh, like as our measurement unit? Well, everything would be less than 1 then, right?
The length of measure. Yeah. All right.
I don't think we have a standard measure yet. It would be like if we had a standard measure of like 1 rant.
Of course we do. It's in the name of the bloody show. It's the hour.
Yeah. I guess that would be the measure, huh?
Yeah, hello, McFly.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So we should do rapid fire links because that's always fun. Because I have so many. I was looking at... So from 2 weeks ago, when we had our last Just You and Me show, we had 40... we posted 45 links. 45 links.
Wow.
That's a lot of links. Well, so mostly people can just go to the Amp Hour subreddit. That is the best way to see all the links. So we won't necessarily subject everyone to all that stuff. But the one thing I wanted to...
And you can vote on stuff before the show.
Yeah, that's important too. So sign up for Reddit. You can vote for the...
But we generally ignore it. But you can actually vote for them before.
Yeah, well, and you can if you're a Reddit user, you can throw it into your feed too. So it'll show up as a regular story on your front page. But what were some of the things that were pretty cool this week? Of course, I can't find them now.
You're telling the story.
Yeah, there was there's a podcast I don't think I've mentioned before, but it's called Innovation Hub. It's out of Boston. I may have mentioned in the past, but they did a cool show about robots. It was actually an on-stage live show that I wanted to link in, and also just tell people about the podcast. So it's called Innovation Hub. There's a robot podcast that was really good. Boston's real strong on robotics, so they have that as a topic once in a while. But lots of good stuff on that show. And I'm always on the lookout for new engineering podcasts. And they're still relatively sparse. So,
we don't mind competition at all.
No, I keep hoping people will.
We will promote you. If you've got a competing podcast, we will promote you.
Yes.
How nice are we?
Yeah. I just want something to listen to, so other than us. That's just awkward.
Right. Yeah, I know. We're bored as bad.
Rolling down the street with my windows open, just like listening to myself.
I'm really plugging our own show.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I had a question for the audience, too. So I was talking to someone about Eagle 6.4, and I was looking at the recent specs for it. So that was released like at the beginning of this year, beginning of 2013, and there's something that says it can interface with LT Spice rather.
Yes,
and
I haven't.
I've never tried that, but
cool if it works.
Yeah, I was wondering if anyone has tried that or if it works. So I'd just be really interested in that. I mean, Eagle obviously has been continuing their development, and so that's a really cool feature. So I really like that, and I hope that works. So I want to tell people about it too if it didn't.
I can't see it working out of the box as such, though, unless there's a matching model. In, you know, let's say you put an LM741.
That's the one that shakes. It's a motor, right?
Or an LM. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Or an LM311.
Yes.
You know, like they may not have that part in the LT Spice standard library. So how does it match up when you import it? R's and C's and your passive parts, it can just pull in a generic model for those, but your chips, well, it's got to be in the library. So I'd be very surprised if it works out of the bag, but at least you can actually import most of your schematic, right? And then you can just manually, if you have to,
you make the connections,
choose the model you want for each chip, and so you can save a fair bit of time there. So and then you eliminate the error in drawing the schematic, as in redrawing the schematic.
Right. Yeah, and that might be what it mainly is. I mean, if people look at the actual
which is a big deal.
net list, if you drag a net list into a text editor, you can usually see, node names in both, in older, some of the newer CAD programs don't necessarily show you the net lists. They're like database based, but if you have an older net list, you actually see, R1 is connected to these two nodes. And that translates to Spice as well. If that's how Spice originally started, was just a Spice engine.
Well, nodes. And that's how it still works under the covers.
Of course,
The GUI schematic interface just generates a netlist which goes into the Spice engine. The 30-year-old Spice engine.
Right.
Yeah.
Young whippersnappers that have never used the text editor one and been frustrated.
Right.
Draw your schematics. If you're using just a Spice engine, that is the key. Go draw your schematics, label each node. That is the only way you will get it right. I promise you that.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. All right. I think, I don't know. There's tons of other stuff, but yeah.
Come on, let's just...
What, you want to keep going?
Leave on a losing note. No, let's just quit on a losing note.
Oh, yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, check out the subreddit.
Quick.
And also, if people will, if people are interested, and if you like the show, one great way to support us is give us iTunes reviews. I just dressed up the iTunes page, and it fell behind in the past, but if people like the show, if you can give us a review on iTunes, that really helps us a lot. So we would really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, well, next week we will have James Neal, also known as Lane, of OSH Park, or Osh Park, the Purple PCB service, and he'll be on the show, and we'll post a something on the subreddit as well to ask questions to him. So looking forward to that.
Awesome.
All right, see you next week, man.
Bye.
This episode was sponsored by Club Jameco. Upload your project brief today, and if approved, you'll get a 10% off coupon. If chosen by the community, you'll make 10% off any kit sold without ever needing to buy or bag components. Go to clubjameco.com/theamphour to find more details and to support the show.